Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is @DougPless. Just want to let everyone know that Bookmap is encouraging everyone to join Discord. In Discord, to fully participate in chat and watch streams in Discord, you will need a Bookmap subscription. There is a free subscription available, and once you subscribe, you will need to verify your account. You can scan the QR code for more information. Here are the key tenets to my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, certainly in the large cap tech stocks like the Mag 7 stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with the ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index, QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index, and the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with the NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading. The first is planning, and I use positional analysis. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow on Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow on Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. Here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, January 29th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. And of course, today is the FOMC day. The announcement comes out at 2 p.m., so I'll stop whatever I'm doing at that point, and we'll watch the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, after the announcement, and we'll concentrate on that, the FOMC coverage, until 2:30 when the press conference begins. All right, let's get started with the news items, economic data, and events. Of course, again today, FOMC announcement comes out at 2 p.m. Widely expected. Here's the current Fed funds rate. 425 to 450 basis points, and widely expected 99.5%. This is the Fed CME watch tool, Fed funds futures. Fed is expected to hold interest rates. So unless something changes, I would expect no movement based on the announcement, but then the algos will parse the statement And then, of course, the press conference will be important at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hello, Diedrich. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so Fed is expected to hold today. All right, so let's go back and wrap up the rest of the week as far as data releases and earnings go. So this afternoon, Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla all report earnings after the market closes. Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, GDP comes out, and then Apple reports earnings after the market closes. So 4 of the 7 Mag 7 stocks reporting earnings this week. And then wrapping up the economic data for the week is the PCE data that comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, so that is that's the week, big week, starting with FOMC today, earnings, and wrapping up with PCE data on Friday. All right, let's move on now to positional analysis. I'm going to start with the ESP 500. This is the ES Futures and Bookmap. All right, before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at a larger time frame. I'm going to go to the SPX. This is a 30-day, a 1-day, 1-year chart. Uptrend still intact. All right, let's take a look now at a 30-day, 1-hour chart. So that's the bigger picture context. Uptrend continuing. All right, 30-day, 1-hour chart. Here's the reaction to the last FOMC meeting, December FOMC meeting in December. SPX found support right around 58.32. Came up and had been testing this trend line, downtrend line. Support again at 58.32. Final shakeout. SPX broke above that downtrend. And then a big gap down. That was on Monday due to the DeepSeek news that came out over the weekend. And now SPX trying to recover. All right, let's take a look at the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. Those levels remain in place for the entire week. And note, on Monday, SPX did gap down below the lower weekly expected move and has tested that level today. All right, the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from Friday. Those levels change every day. I do post those levels in Discord every day the evening before. All right, the dark red lines on this chart are showing Spotgamma levels. These are based on gamma-weighted open interest. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers on a variety of trading platforms. Again, this is Thinkorswim, 30-day, 1-hour chart. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, the put wall is down at 5,800. That's a strike with large net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. That level did move down from 5,900 yesterday. And the next level up is the absolute gamma strike at 6,000. That was a key level yesterday. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So 6,000. Yesterday was the volatility trigger. Absolute gamma strike. Today, the volatility trigger moved up. So it is still the absolute gamma strike. 6,000, that's a strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. And above that, the volatility trigger, new volatility trigger at 6,025. And that is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility. And above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And we'll talk more about gamma in just a moment, but I would say right now, well, at the beginning of the day, gamma notional for SPX was just very mildly positive. And we'll take a look at the current picture of gamma in just a moment. All right, so the volatility trigger moved up slightly, and then finally the call wall remains at 6,200. That's a strike with largest net positive gamma. That can be expected to act as resistance, and certainly that is not in play for today. All right, let's wrap up our view of the SPX with a 1-minute chart. And I've got about 4 days worth of data here. I want to show these levels up above. All right, so key for yesterday, as I mentioned, this test of 6,000. That was early in the day. SPX gapped up, then closed the gap, but found support at the 6,000 volatility trigger, and then rallied for the rest of the day. And today, so far, SPX trading in a very narrow range. SPX did test the lower weekly expected move earlier today. Then the 6,050 level has been in play. That's a large gamma 4. All right, so those are the SPX levels. And right now, 6,000 is Spotgamma's risk on, risk off level, kind of line in the sand. All right, so here's Bookmap, and I have SPX levels on this chart, also SPY levels, as well as key levels for ES. So I'm showing here the dash blue line, dash purple line, showing the lower daily and weekly expected move for ES, calculated a little bit differently than the expected moves for SPX. All right, so support level so far for today is the SPX 6018 level. That was noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. And just above that is SPX 6020, and that is ES 6050. So kind of a cluster of levels there. And then again, the expected moves, lower expected moves just above that. Earlier today, the SPY 603 volatility trigger acted as support, and then price broke that level. And note, ES has been trading below VWAP all day, that light blue line. Found resistance at VWAP a couple of times today. All right, note there's a difference in price between ES and SPX. And today that offset right now is about 30 points. So ES minus SPX is 30. So I'm showing this SPX 6020 level at ES 6050. All right, so those are the levels in play for today so far. And we'll take a look at setups in just a few minutes. We'll see what options traders are doing. Let's move on to NASDAQ. So again, shifts in levels, just to wrap up SPX, ES, shifts in levels, volatility trigger higher, put wall lower. And for SPY, the volatility trigger also shifted higher. All right, let's move on to NASDAQ. Here's the NQ futures and Bookmap. And I'm going to take a quick look at the underlying index charts. First of all, here's QQQ. Earlier today, the 520 absolute gamma strike acted as support. Now maybe resistance along with VWAP. So that's QQQ. Also, with this big move down, 517, the round number, just not a spot gamma level, just the 517 round number acted as support. So here's the absolute gamma strike and the volatility trigger above that. Also acted as resistance. All right, for QQQ, all four key daily levels shifted higher. So normally that's very bullish if all four key daily levels shift higher. And for NDX, there were no shifts higher in levels. So let's take a quick look at NDX. Here's the call wall, absolute gamma strike at 21,450. And then a combo level just below that, acting as resistance. And that QQQ 517 level was right around the NDX 0 gamma level. Note NDX is slightly above its volatility trigger now. All right, so back to whoops. All right, back to NQ futures. There's that most recent support level. Oops. Let me just check that real quick. NDX 21,000. Yeah, 248, 0 gamma level. Kind of unusual to see it not at a bigger round number. And hello, RJ McFly, Miguel Jr., and oh boy, hello, welcome, glad you're here. All right, so that's NASDAQ. And right at the cash open, the QQQ 523 level acted as resistance. There's that NDX 21,450 absolute gamma strike call wall. QQQ levels just below that. There's the QQQ 521 volatility trigger. 520 absolute gamma strike. And it looks like the point of control, here's the point of control, this dark purple line, is right around NQ 21,500 and the QQQ 520 level just slightly below that. And you can also see in the session volume profile all the volume concentrated in a pretty narrow range today. All right, so that's NASDAQ. Let's take a look at Gamma, then we'll take a quick look at some setups from earlier today, and then I've got about 10 or 11 minutes. Then we'll, of course, take a look at the live market. So let's take a quick look at Gamma. Market maker's position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day. For the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, and for the, I would say for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, fairly neutral. Positive for SPX, negative for SPY, and then slightly negative for QQQ, slightly positive for NDX. So mixed picture. All these numbers did increase from yesterday. All right, so that is the picture of Gamma notional at the beginning of the day. And remember, positive Gamma market makers have to trade. against price. Negative gamma, market makers have to trade with price. All right, so here's a current view of gamma. This is the trace tool for Spotgamma. Hello, Shane. Welcome. Glad you're here. Shane says, Spotgamma, a new Bookmap user here, loving the combo of the tools. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it's a great combination. All right, so this is the current view of gamma in the Spotgamma trace tool. Red shading indicates negative gamma. And this indicates you look at gamma in terms of price movement. Negative gamma, you're looking for faster price movement, wider movement. In positive gamma, you're looking for more narrow range, not as much movement. So let's take a quick step back in time. Let's go to just after the cash open. Note there was a pocket of slightly positive gamma with negative gamma above and below. And note also the stability index at 27%. That's just after the open. Now let's go back to real time. Mostly negative gamma now, and a very, very low stability index at 6%. So, of course, looking for a lot of movement with the announcement and the statement and of course, the press conference. All right, so that is my thesis for the day was, of course, looking for higher volatility based on the negative gamma notional or slightly positive gamma notional at the beginning of the day. And, of course, the price action really depends on how the market interprets the FOMC. All right, so let's take a look and see what options traders have been doing today. And I'm going to start with the S&P 500. And I'm sure there. Well, first of all, this is the Hero tool in Spotgamma. It's available to Spotgamma subscribers. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the S&P 500 index signal. It's showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the index components, SPX, SPY, ES, XSP. And I'm showing the total signal here. I thought it was a little bit more clear today to look at the total signal. All right, I'm going to keep this tab on the index signal. And just an overall summary, the index signal, Spotgamma typically says the index signal provides a more clear picture for the turning points. And then the equity signal right here provides a more clear signal for the overall direction. And that is certainly the case for today. So looking at the equity signal, which is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index, with the exception of this big bump right there, has been trending down. All right, so let's go to the index signal first. So you can see from the open, a bearish opening drive, a little bit of flush there, and then a reversal. All right, so that was in the morning. Let's go take a look at ES. Take a look at order flow in that time frame. And then we'll get to real time. All right, so remember the index signal was showing a bearish opening drive at 9:30. During that time, large traders were fading that move. That's shown with iceberg orders, rising light blue line. That's pretty typical of large traders with iceberg orders. They buy weakness and sell strength. Price reverses higher. breaks above the SPY 603 volatility trigger, also the SPX 6050 large gamma 4 level. Finds resistance again at the 604 level, and then begins to downtrend. At that point, all three lines in the subchart moving lower. So large traders are fading that with iceberg orders. That's the light blue line. And then sell stop orders will helping to fuel that move lower. And then also that's the yellow line. And then the dark blue to magenta line, that's cumulative volume delta. So aggressive sellers, sell stop orders, and large traders now on board with that move down. All right, so bearish opening drive, a little bit of a bump up as the hero signal shifts. Let's go back to hero now. And the hero signal gets noisy here, but it pretty much ignoring the up and down oscillations flattens out. So whatever fuel was driving this move higher is now gone. And price starts to move lower as, again, large traders sell with iceberg orders, sell stop orders, and aggressive sellers move the S&P 500 lower. All right, let's take a look at the S&P equities at that time. And I'm actually should be on that. All right, so during that time, this signal was just bearish. There's that same flush down, but overall bearish. So there's that little bit of a bump up starting right around noon. Downtrend briefly pauses. Again, traders take the foot off the gas. Price drops down, makes a sharp drop down as the hero signal drops down. All right, I've got about 3 minutes left. Make sure we're on the right signals. Let's just quickly go to NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, there was pretty much agreement between the NASDAQ signal. This is the NASDAQ index signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for NDX and QQQ. And then the MAG 7 signal showing options trades, market maker hedging activity for the MAG 7 stocks, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, and Tesla. All right, so with the exception of this call buyers coming in right around 12:10, it's been bearish in agreement with the NASDAQ index signal. All right, let's go back. Let's take a look. Let's go back to the S&P 500. I've got about just over a minute until the announcement. So right now, the index signal fairly positive and still flat for the equity signal. So we'll leave this signal open. Let's go to the S&P 500. Zoom in a bit. All right, so less than a minute until the announcement. And I am watching a feed of CNBC. It will be delayed a bit. Actually, let's zoom out, get a big picture view. So starting just after 1, there was aggressive buyers coming in, shown by the rising cumulative volume delta, all the green volume dots. All right, announcement in 10 seconds. Again, what I will see will be delayed as far as the information goes. I'm going to zoom in just a bit more. All right, ES back down toward the lows of the day. All right, oh boy says no rate change, thanks, as expected. Now the algos are parsing the announcement, the statement. We'll watch this for just a minute, then we'll take a look and see what options traders are doing. Again, ES down toward the low of the day. Looks like some large traders buying with iceberg orders. All right, so Fed leaves rates unchanged, as old boy said. All right, let's see what options traders are doing, see the initial reaction. On the index signal, initial reaction bearish. Let's go over here. Let's take a look. Well, this view, puts and calls. See what they're doing in puts and calls. So they've been buying calls since right around 105. Started buying puts just before the announcement. Back to the total signal. All right, back to Bookmap. So Bookmap found support again around this cluster of levels. Lower weekly and daily expected move, the 620 support level. Large traders continue to buy with iceberg orders shown by the rising light blue line in the subchart. Let's go back to Hero, see what options traders are doing. All right, back to the total signal. So down, then up, then flat. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. Go to Bookmap. Go to NASDAQ. Let's get a big picture view real quick. All right, so here was the low of the day so far, right around 1 at the 517.21 248 zero gamma level. So far, all the lines in the subchart look bearish. Zoom in a bit more. All right, let's go back to the S&P 500. All right, back down to lows of the day. Actually, I think the low was the 60.18 level. So now, so far, 60.20 holding. Large traders continue to buy with iceberg orders. Now some aggressive buyers coming in, green volume dots. Let's go back, check Hero, see what options traders are doing. Go to the equity signal, that is trending down, that's bearish. Traders are taking negative delta positions in the S&P 500 equities. Index signal a little bit more neutral. Let's take a look at Trace. SPX getting down toward the Spotgamma implied one-day move low. That's right near that cluster of levels that has acted as support before. Stability index still at 6%. And note this chart updates every 10 minutes. So it will not update and reflect current data until about 3 minutes from now. Oh boy says the big event and movement is the Powell talk at 2:30. Until then, usually no clear direction. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said before. The announcement is was widely anticipated to be no change. That's exactly what happened, and apparently there were no big pieces of new information, no new information in the announcement. So again, the press conference is exactly what traders are waiting on now. Back to Hero, starting to trend up. That's the equity index signal. Equity still continues to trend lower. So a little bit of a conflict between the index and equity signal. Let's just take a look at Bookmap. So again, so far, the low of the day, 60-20 level holding as support. We turn up the heat map just a little bit. You can see the algos in here with these limit buy and sell orders that track price. Notice how they shut off a couple minutes before the announcement. Oops. Shut off right around there. Looks like these limit buy orders were still in the market at the announcement time. Looks like they were consumed. So now the algos are back about 3 or 4 minutes after the announcement. So the algo's back in now. Tone that down a bit. 60-20 support still holding. Let's go back, check Hero. See if there's still a conflict between the index and equity signal. Equity's still trending down. Flat for the index signal. Traders continue to take negative delta positions in the equities. There's NASDAQ. Mag 7 signal. Mixed picture there. Traders buying puts and buying calls. Let's see what they're doing. The equities would be very similar. So it looks like it's put buyers really driving price lower. Call signal jump, flattened out, and traders continue to buy puts. And overall, the total signal is moving down. All right, so it looks like SPX is now broken down below that support level. Go to the index signal, also moving sharply lower. Price is broken down below Spotgamma 1-day implied move low. Back to Bookmap. Support level broken. Little gap in data there. And maybe the 60-18 level holding a support. So again, that was the support level earlier today, just after 1 p.m. All right, so there's the, let me change the color of that. I'll leave it like that. So that was actually the support level earlier today, right around ES 6046. Back to Hero. Let's see what options traders are doing. Equity signal moving lower. Index signal, sorry. Same for equity signal. Let's check trace. Right around that Spotgamma 1-day implied move low. And Diedrich asked, in terms of options data, what should we be looking at now? GEX, Greeks, options flow. So things are moving very fast now. So GEX will be changing. Greeks, not so much. That's something I would not look at. I would look at Greeks for longer term position. And then, of course, hedging flow, options flow is what we're concentrating on now. Of course, order flow on Bookmap and hedging flow with Hero here. This is both real-time data. And GEX is really shown by trace, and that is not exactly real-time. It's updated once every 10 minutes. All right, back to Hero. There's the index signal, equity signal. Back to Bookmap. All right, so far the low of the day, right around ES 6046 held. Go to NASDAQ. NASDAQ still above the low of the day, which was at 517.21,478 zero gamma NDX zero gamma level. And right around NQ 21,400, holding a support. Let's go back to Hero. And I do want to take a quick look at some stocks to see how they're holding up. So let's go to the Mag 7. Again, traders could continue to buy puts and buy calls. Let's check a couple of Mag 7 stocks. Apple, pretty neutral here. Call line, orange line, put line, blue line, pretty flat. Let's check. Meta. Traders continue to buy calls. So call buyers really driving Meta today. They're also buying puts, but the call buyers are more aggressive. Let's check NVIDIA. Bearish day at NVIDIA. Looks like NVIDIA is giving back everything it gained yesterday as traders continue to buy puts. Remember then the Mag 7 signal. Traders started buying calls right around 12:15. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA. And that line should look very familiar. Let's leave that in place. Leave that in place. Go to NVIDIA. Whoops. Leave that in place. Go to NVIDIA. There you go. There's where that bump up in calls came from. Traders buying calls in NVIDIA. So far, though, the put buyers are in charge. Back to Mag 7. And there you go. NVIDIA options trades driving Mag 7, driving S&P equities. Let's check S&P equity signal. Same thing. So as far as equities goes, it looks like NVIDIA options are dominating today. Check Tesla. Pretty choppy. All right, back to the NASDAQ index signal. Still bearish. Mag 7. Still dominated by NVIDIA. S&P index signal still moving lower. SPX is now broken down below support. SP equities, same thing, still bearish. SPX down below support. Go back to ES. So ES just broke down below that low of the day. All right, questions, comments? Does anyone have anything they want me to take a look at? Any other stocks? All right, so ES is broken down below the low of the day, now trying to recover. Question now is, will these levels act as resistance? So right around the 620, that was support before, and the 6,018, will that now act as resistance? Over to NASDAQ. NASDAQ still above the lows of the day, which was 517.21, 248. All right, back to Hero. Equity signal still trending lower overall. Equity signal still up and down, making lower highs and lower lows. Let's check Trace. And note 60.25 is the volatility trigger. A little bit of positive gamma at that strike. That's shown by the blue bar on the left there. Let's check charm pressure, see if that'll tell us anything. And we'll use this for potential end-of-day pin targets. Diedrich asks, what's the current call wall? We're still waiting for it to form. So the call wall, all the Spotgamma levels are based on open interest data that's updated once a day, sometime overnight. So the Spotgamma levels, the key levels, the call wall, put wall, absolute gamma strike, all those levels remain in place for the entire week. So they may change daily. They're based on gamma weighted open interest. They will probably do change during the day, but that information is not available until overnight when the open interest data comes out. So the call wall is at 6,200 and it's well above, certainly not in play. So looking at charm here, this is showing a potential pin target at 6,000. That is a blue buying support below and red selling pressure above. And as price does move down, you can see the vortex lines leading down to that level. And again, that was Spotgamma's line in the sand and support level from yesterday. Let's check delta pressure. All right, so this is a little bit backwards from what I'm usually seeing. I guess this is a negative gamma. All right, back to charm pressure. Stephen asks, what do you mean by that pin target in 6,000? How would you look at it? I'm looking at it as charm, which is the change in delta as time passes. So this is the effective options heading toward the end of the day, helping to drive price down to that 6,000 level. So by pin target, I mean an end of day price could be at 6,000. That's what charm is showing now. All right, back to gamma. All right, still stability index at 6%. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go back to real time. Looks like in the index signal, traders are starting to take positive delta positions. Check the equities. Still trending lower. Let's go to Mag 7. Traders continue to buy calls and buy puts. Same with NVIDIA, which is driving Mag 7, which is driving equities. Back to Mag 7. Back to the S&P 500. S&P 500 equity signal. Overall net total signal still trending down. Index signal moving up. Let's go back to Bookmap. And sorry if I'm jumping around so fast. I'm just trying to cover a lot of information here. All right, so it looks like maybe these levels that acted as support, maybe resistance now. All right, so there's the 6,000 level down below, that potential pin target at the end of the day. So, of course, if the S&P 500 gets down to that level, really depends on how the market interprets the press conference. So if price moves lower, that would certainly be the target. Let's check. Trace. And note if price does break down below the 6,000 level, gamma becomes more negative, so you would expect faster movement down below that level. All right, back to Bookmap. And so far, the reaction remains bearish. Yes, making a series of lower highs. Support, now resistance. All right, let's do one last check of Hero equities. Still continues to trend lower. Again, certainly the 6,000 key gamma strike in line for a move lower. Now the index signal, which is typically more choppy than the equity signal, that's certainly the case today. Starting to move lower again. All right, last call. Questions, comments? All right, again, for a move lower, I'm looking for a potential pin at 6,000. One last look at trace, go to charm pressure. All right, so that 6,000 level still in play as a potential pin target. Back to Bookmap. ES continues to make a series of lower highs. All right, everyone, it's 2:30. Press conference should be beginning. Just in summary, Fed leaves rates unchanged. Market reaction is bearish. Traders taking negative delta options positions. Fed considers inflation to be continue to be elevated, somewhat elevated. All right, press conference is beginning. I'm going to wrap it up here so everyone can trade the press conference. All right, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. Everyone have a great trading day today, and I will see you on next Monday. Thanks again. Bye.